and for our president. You walked down here and made promises to us. You shook our hand. You talked to me face to face and said you're going to cut the red tape. Where the heck is the red tape being cut? Because I sure haven't seen it. My neighbors haven't seen it. My friends haven't seen it. We are still fighting.
All right, Staten Island residents demanding action and pleading for federal assistance 2.5 months after getting pounded by Hurricane Sandy. A critical vote on providing relief for Sandy victims tops the agenda when the House convenes tomorrow. Joining me in the studio this afternoon, New York Congressman Eliot Engel, ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
2 votes, right, that are really going to be coming up. One on $17 billion for immediate Sandy recovery needs, and then another $33 billion that 67 House Republicans voted against. Another $33 billion. Now, when we look back at the first round of relief earlier this month, 67 House Republicans voted against that. Do you expect the same sort of numbers in terms of those who are against the 17 and the 33 billion come this week?
Well, we really don't know. I hope not. But, you know, the first piece that 67 voted against was the easiest piece. You would
$9 billion, right.
You would think nobody would vote against that. That was flood insurance. These other pieces are very, very important. And, you know, a lot of us were very angry at Speaker Boehner when he pulled the bill abruptly just before the end of the last Congress, because the Senate had already passed it, and all we had to do was pass the Senate version, and it would have gone into law. By not acting upon it, we kicked it back, and now we have to start all over again, pass something in the House, and then hopefully the Senate will pass it. And people cannot wait even another week or another day. You know, when Hurricane Katrina hit, within 10 days, those people in the Gulf Coast got aid. Now in New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Connecticut, it's been 70 days. And people still have not seen the relief that they need. It's disgraceful.
We were just speaking with Mayor Ed Johnson out of Asbury, and he says, we're paying for this using our credit card, and right now we are $10 million into this. We're looking at mayors, city councils, who you talk with very often, that are now digging deep into these credit lines to keep the progress going, get their residents up and moving.
Well, you know, there are arguments in Washington about what the role of government should be, whether it's too big, too small, or whatever it is. But I don't think anyone reasonably can say that government should not provide disaster relief to those parts of the country that have disasters. You know, I've been in Congress now for more than 2 decades, and whenever we had difficulty, whether it was Katrina, whether it was hurricanes or tornadoes, we provided relief. If we're going to sit and have an argument or a discussion about offsetting it or not offsetting it, and meanwhile these people are sitting without help, that's unconscionable. And the federal government, if there's one thing the federal government should be doing, it is providing aid to American citizens who are in desperate need. No one can deny that the need isn't there. And so I think that if we're talking about offsets or anything like that, that should be a discussion for another day. It should not hold up aid to people from Superstorm Sandy.
Like Mayor Ed Johnson, as we were talking about.
Absolutely.
And he's moving forward, he says. I'm not going to stop, is what he said, to continue to help the residents of my city. You know, some of the objections to the existing bills that are out there have resulted in a Republican-led bill. $17 billion is what House Republicans would like to push forward. Is that something you would support?
Well, I support the full $60 billion. That's what's needed. It's not padded. That's what's needed. If the 17 is the first or the second down payment of the 60, I would support it as long as you pass the others very quickly as well. It can't be a thing where we pass 17 and then we wait a few months and then we pass again. If you have to rebuild, and you have contracts that need to be let, you can't say to a contractor, well, I'll pay you for the first 3 months, and then we'll see if we can go get money from Congress and come back. You've got to do the whole thing. It's not only restoring what happened, it's mitigation as well. You know, we don't want to rebuild, and then if another superstorm happens or another hurricane happens, we have a difficulty. We want to build stronger so we can withstand the next superstorm.
Be ready for the next disaster. And, you know, the critics to the existing solutions that are out there, the original that on January 1st that did not reach the floor that you were alluding to earlier, is that it includes a lot of other disasters from before, recovery efforts related to previous disasters, and that those should not be included for this, because this is specifically for Sandy. What do you make of that criticism?
Well, that was in the Senate bill, in the original bill. It wasn't in the House bill, and I think that criticism is just delaying tactics, quite frankly. I mean, I'm not for pork for other projects. I'm for Sandy relief. But to kind of use that as an excuse not to do Sandy relief, I think is unconscionable. People who are suffering in Staten Island and Long Island and the Sound Shore of my district, we don't want excuses anymore. I mean, there are fights in Congress, legitimate fights. Those fights have to happen, but it should not mix in with Sandy aid.
How real are those 67 votes that said no to the $9 billion? How is it just a protest vote, or there's a real concern that you're seeing on the right for this bill?
Well, I don't know. I can't get into their heads, but I will tell you something. There are people there that took aid for their districts, whether it's different parts of the country, whether it's the Gulf Coast or Missouri or Texas or Kansas. They took aid, and I voted for it to help when they had natural disasters. And I think it's just shameful and unconscionable that they are voting no for Sandy aid. I think, again,
quid pro quo.
Well, it's quid pro quo, and we're all Americans, and we have to help each other. And I know there are fights going on in Congress now, and those fights will be taken care of. But our people need help. People who don't have roofs over their heads or cannot rebuild, or businesses that are closing, they need help, and they need it now. And it's unconscionable for anybody to vote no.
Yeah, they were absolutely devastated. Many parts here of New Jersey and New York that are still recovering from that. Thank you so much, Congressman Elliott.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.